Hi, I'm Matt Rothstein. Some people call me the Snackmaster, and welcome to the first episode of Cooking with the Snackmaster. First, I want to show you what this show is all about, the reason why we do this show, the reason why I do this, and that is this guy right here. Come here, Michael. This right here is Michael Rothstein. He's my son. He's the best boy in the world, and the reason I'm doing this show is so that I can find a way to take care of him, because he's the best. Thanks, Michael. You can go play. So, today's episode is going to be about one of my favorites. I was always told to start with something you do best. I've been cooking Cajun food for over 20 years, so today we're going to have chicken and sausage gumbo. So, why don't we get cooking? So, like I said, today we're making chicken and sausage gumbo. I got over here a pot that I've been making a roux in. A roux is a simple mixture of equal parts fat and flour. You want to cook that to whatever color you need for the consistency you're using for your sauce. Today, since we're making gumbo, you want a dark brown roux, chocolate brown. You're going to cook it, you're going to smell it, you're going to think that it's burning. It's not burning, it's how it's supposed to be. What that really is a nutty aroma. Also over here I have a pot of chicken stock that I have had frozen. This is fresh, real chicken stock, not that stuff in the can, not that stuff in a box you buy at the grocery store. That stuff is not stock, okay? This I will show you how to make. This is another episode. Here we have the ingredients that go into a gumbo. We have andouille sausage. We have chicken that I roasted off yesterday and diced up. We have these three ingredients here, which are known as the Trinity. The Trinity is celery, bell pepper, and onion. It's very similar to the classic French foundation, which is called mirepoix. Mirepoix would be celery, carrot, and onion. The bell pepper is the difference for Louisiana. Only in Louisiana do you have Trinity. Mirepoix is everywhere in the world. You go to China and it's mirepoix. But this is what we have in New Orleans. So now it's time to get cooking. We have the roux, and the roux has been warming up over a medium heat. You want to get that nice and warm because you got two reasons to warm it up. First of all, you want to saute your Trinity in the mirepoix. That helps to give it flavor, it helps to balance it out, and the sugars from the onion will help to add a little bit more dark color to this roux, which again you want to be chocolate brown. And really chocolate, I'm serious. In here you have the stock. The stock right now is cold. That's okay, because another reason to heat this up and leave this cold is when you're mixing together a thickening agent with a liquid, you want one to be hot, one to be cold. We could have cold roux and hot liquid, that would work too, but you have to have that temperature difference. Otherwise, it's not going to thicken up properly. Let's talk about some of the other ingredients that go into a gumbo. Gumbo has a lot of rich flavor, so you have to add a lot of things to it. You have Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce goes in it, tastes great. You have ketchup. Ketchup adds color, there's a little bit of tomato background, adds that flavor. There's a nice tomato flavor to it, obviously. You get a lot from the ketchup. Hot sauce. You can't have gumbo without hot sauce. Louisiana food's supposed to give you a little bit of a bite, so this will give you a little bit of a bite. Then you have your seasonings. You have your basic seasonings. And here is a Cajun seasoning that I got from, quite frankly, from another television chef who's a lot more famous than me. You want his recipe, you can figure out who he is and go get it. Otherwise, it's buy Cajun seasoning in the store. This one I made. What goes in that mostly is kosher salt, oregano, black pepper, which I prefer in a pepper grinder. You want fresh cracked black because that's when the oils come out and make it really tasty and really good. And you want salt and pepper and everything. Salt and pepper has to be in food. You have to season your food. That's a chef trick. It's one of the things that I learned in culinary school. You have to season your food or you don't taste it. The salt reacts chemically with your tongue and wakes it up so that you taste things. It's why you even put salt in a little bit of your baked goods when you're doing sweets. You still want salt. What else goes in there is not into the Cajun seasoning, but just in the gumbo. We're going to have bay leaf. Gotta have bay leaf. We're also going to have some of these guys here. You're going to have cayenne pepper. You got to have a little bit of garlic pepper. You got to have paprika. You got parsley flakes. You need parsley. and thyme. What else goes in there? Oh yeah, one thing that I forgot. Let's go to the fridge, kids. Can't forget this. This is garlic. You need the garlic, okay? This is New Orleans food. This is Cajun. This is flavorful. You want the garlic. You don't like garlic? Oh, I don't like garlic. Oh, it's strong. Oh, it's bitter. No. You need the garlic. I have it in this little jar. It is one of my little cheats, a few cheat that I do. Everything here is fresh. Like I said, even the chicken stock is a fresh stock. It's a chicken stock that I made from scratch. That's how I like to do it. But this is okay. This is real garlic. It's just minced up. It just saves a little bit of work. If you want to peel and mince garlic cloves, I applaud that kind of effort. God bless you. You should go ahead and go do it. Me, I do that once in a while. Sometimes I go for this. Where are we at here? Okay. Looks like we're getting a little bit of heat in our roux. So, since we're getting a little bit of heat in our roux, why don't we take a look at our roux? You see that dark color? See how lovely that is? Now, how you get that dark color is one way. Medium heat and time. You take your time. You don't go answer the phone. You don't go play on the internet. You don't go watch my show while you're in the middle of making your roux. Your roux requires time and effort. You stand over it to get to this color. It's a medium heat. Let's see if we can catch that on the stove top. Medium. You do medium for about 20 to 25 minutes, or as some people would say, 2 beers, and you get to this luscious, beautiful color. That's the color you want right there. That's roux, okay? That's gumbo roux. So, let's get to cooking this gumbo, because I'm getting hungry. Okay, this roux is coming up to a good temperature now. We got some heat under it, so now we got to start adding some of these ingredients. All of the stuff that I just showed you before that's prepared here, we're going to go through one more time right now, because it's important. All right, here we have andouille sausage. I browned that off before, got a nice color on it, rendered out some of the fat, which helped to build the fat for the roux. The roux is actually part andouille sausage fat and part bacon fat and a little bit of canola oil. Next we have chicken, once again, that I roasted off. We're going to put all that in. Then we have our trinity. We have our celery, we have our bell pepper, and we have our onion. Now when you want to make trinity, which is that right there together, it is 2 parts onion, 1 part celery, 1 part bell pepper. What we're going to do now that we have some heat, now that we've gone over our ingredients, we have all our ingredients together, we have all of our seasonings here, we have all of our flavor and our foundation and our meats here, everything together. That's called mise en place. It's a fancy chef term. It means everything in its place. You want that when you cook. It makes your life a lot easier. Do all your prep work in advance. Roux is very delicate. Right now that's a dark color. That dark can burn real fast. That's why, like I said, when you're making the roux, you don't go do anything else, you pay attention to your roux. So our roux is ready, our mise en place is all set, and we're going to get started. First things first, onion. Let's add the onion to the roux. You hear that sizzle? That's the sound you want. Sizzle is important. We're going to start sauteing the roux with the onions. Once that's done its thing for a minute or two, you start to see the onions get translucent. You start to get the roux coating the onions. Now you want to add in your celery and your bell pepper. You need these to complete your trinity. They go in, put that there, that goes in the sink. So, we're going to coat everything now with the roux, get everything going, and that's going to cook for a minute. And we're going to start with our first bit of seasoning. First, because you got to season, you have to season a few times. You're going to start now, and that's building the foundation of your flavor. Okay? Then you're going to come back later, you're going to taste it, and if it tastes right, you're good. It's probably not going to taste right, and you're going to want to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. Your brain's going to start talking to you and telling you that that's what you want to do. So now, kosher salt. Just put it in. Give it a couple of good pinches like that. You don't need to add a ton because again you're going to re-season later. Crack black pepper. Crack it in. Get those oils going. I smell them. It smells wonderful from here already. How many turns you're going to give it depends on a couple of things. How much do you like black pepper? How many grinds can you get out of your pepper grinder if you have a good one? Mine isn't so great, so I got to give it a lot of grinds. Plus, I like a lot of pepper. Next, we want to add a little bit of thyme. Ground thyme. You can use thyme leaves, I suppose. I don't use the thyme leaves. Here's my Cajun seasoning. Or someone else's Cajun seasoning, really. But this is mine because I put it together and I bought the ingredients. So let's put this in. I wish you could smell this. It smells fantastic already. These herbs, these spices, and this trinity coming together, cooking up. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. A little bit of cayenne goes in. Last thing we just added was the garlic powder. How much cayenne? How spicy do you like it? Me, I like a bite to it. Like I said before, this is Cajun food. It should have a bite. Parsley. Let's get the parsley in here. Again, parsley is like a foundational flavor, just like Trinity is in Cajun cooking or mirepoix in every other kind of cooking. Parsley goes in almost everything, especially if you're making soups or stews, something like that. You want to add some oregano. Need your paprika. Again, color, flavor, very important. Let's not forget the bay leaves. And don't forget, by the way, the bay leaves, when you're done cooking this, before you want to serve this to people, you want to try and fish these guys out of here, okay? You don't want to leave this and leave it as a treat for your guests if you're feeding this to somebody else. This is not tasty by itself. This is not snacky. Put that in, 2, maybe 3, and we're good to go with the bay leaves. We'll give this another little bit of a stir, incorporate all those seasonings. Ooh, that's getting hot. Safety first, kids. Pot holder. Give that a stir. I like where that's going. It smells good. So now, here's what we do next. Garlic. Like I said, you want to mince it up yourself. That's a beautiful thing. Me, I'm very happy to do this. I know I added garlic powder before. The garlic powder is part of the foundation with the whole spice mix. The fresh garlic is going to give you a whole nother level of garlic flavor, and that's real important. You want to put that in there. Once again, you hear that starting to sizzle. We like that sizzle. That's what we're looking for. Oh, you put in that garlic and oh, that just takes right up my nose. Oh, that's such a beautiful smell. Oh, this is really a treat, kids. It's one of my favorite things to eat. And I'm making this for a friend right now. A friend of mine was going to move away. He had a job that he was going to get a few hundred miles from here. For health reasons, he decided not to take the job, so we were having a going away party for him tomorrow. Now we're having a yay, he can stay party. And I talked to him last night. He said he wanted me to make him something with meat because he knows that I'm a carnivore. So I thought about it. Then he said to stick with something tried and true, something that I know. So I said, okay, what's tried and true? What do I know? What do I have at home right now? Oh yeah, I got it. I'm going to make chicken and sausage gumbo. Now that we got this where we want it, we got these vegetables where we want, we got everything well seasoned, everything smells great. Now it's time to add in the stock. Remember, real chicken stock, not out of a can. I'll show you how to make that in another episode. So let's pour that in there. This was about a quart and a half or so. You want to incorporate the stock in with the roux. You want to get it all mixed together. That's how we get a good consistency. That's how we get it to thicken properly, and that's how we avoid lumps. That's part of why we make roux to begin with, because roux is a smooth thickening agent. When you go over grandma's and you get the lumpy gravy at Thanksgiving, that's because she didn't cook the fat in the flour separately and make a roux before adding in liquid to try and make gravy. She just poured everything together and cooked it up, and that's how you get lumps. We don't want lumps. So we're going to let this have to work a little while now, because it's going to take time, because you never know how a thickening agent is working for you until it comes to a full boil. And that's if you're using roux, cornstarch, or arrowroot. Any sort of thickening agent has to come to a boil. And then you'll know how thick it's going to be. This looks pretty well incorporated. We're going to let it do its thing. When it comes up to temperature, we can see how thick it looks. That's when we'll start adding the rest of the seasonings and the rest of the flavorings. And then we'll be making gumbo, kids. Now, when you're doing this, when you're putting together your roux and you're putting it together with your liquid and you're waiting for it to come to a boil, you might get impatient because it takes a while. You might be tempted to want to go to the knob, jack it up to high heat, let it come to a boil quick. Don't do that. That's not what you want to do here. This takes patience. This takes a little bit of a tender touch. We love this food. We love this pot of gumbo, okay? Good cooking takes time. A good pot of gumbo is going to take you a good 3 to 4 hours. It's okay. While you're waiting for it to come up to boil, if it looks like it's starting to separate and the roux is not incorporating with the liquid, that's only because it hasn't boiled yet. Once it boils, it'll all come together. Once again, it takes time. You know, they say a watched pot never boils. They say you don't want to watch the pot. Well, let me tell you what happens when you don't watch pots. About 18 years ago, I wasn't watching a pot. It had hot oil in it. I was going to make some French fries. I put it on. I went back out of the kitchen. I sat on my couch. I fell asleep. I woke up. I said, hey, I wonder what that smoke is. Ran back into the kitchen. The oil was on fire. That's right, fire. Flames shooting out of the pot like this. No fire extinguisher in the house. No ability to put this fire out. I carried the flaming pot of oil out my front door in my hand, singeing my hair. I don't know how I didn't burn my face. Ended up with 2nd and 3rd degree burns on 30% of my body. You don't want to leave the pot. Watch your pot and wait for it to boil. Trust the Snackmaster. You know, sometimes you're going to wonder how long it takes for a pot to come to a boil. I can't give you a time on that. There's a lot of reasons. One of them is, depends on where you are. I'm here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So here at a higher altitude, a boil happens at a lower temperature. Instead of happening at 212 degrees like you learned if you live at sea level, it actually happens at this altitude at about 190 degrees, I believe. So since it's a lower temperature to come to a boil, I know it seems counterintuitive. Lower you would think it would get there faster, but it actually takes longer. It also takes longer to boil into things. Pasta takes a couple of minutes longer up here. Rice takes 50% longer here. It takes a half an hour instead of 20 minutes. And you also need more liquid. Instead of a 2-to-1 ratio of liquid to rice, you actually have to have about 25% more liquid. Otherwise, your rice is not going to turn out. We'll get to that because we need rice because you have to have rice with gumbo. But that's another show. I almost forgot a very important ingredient. One thing you have to have in gumbo, at least the way I was taught about gumbo. Okra. Frozen okra is just fine. It might be harder to find it fresh. When it's fresh, it's a little slimy. It's hard to cut. It's hard to deal with. Diced cut okra from the freezer is perfect. This will get a little slimy too as it cooks, but it'll happen in the pot, not on your hands. And that little bit of sliminess is not slime. It's just a little bit of a fresh, natural vegetable thickener, and it's actually going to help to thicken your gumbo. You want this. It gives good flavor. It's a good vegetable. It adds to the health of the meal, and it adds the consistency. Okra is classic for gumbo. Okay, now something very interesting is happening here. We finally got to our full rolling boil. I got what I want, but here's the thing. I don't have what I want. I have too much liquid, not enough roux. So it's not thickening up the way I like it to. Since we really cook on this show, I can let you know that we don't have the exact result we want. But we can fix these things because the Snackmaster comes prepared. Okay? You know what I had in my fridge? More roux right here. Look at it. Nice and dark brown, beautiful roux. So what we're going to do is take this cold roux, because again, you want a cold thickening agent with a hot liquid. And then what we're going to do is incorporate this roux into our gumbo. That's one of the problems with roux. The darker the roux, the less the thickening power is, the more roux you have to use. A lighter roux doesn't take as much. If you're making a white roux, like for a bechamel sauce, you don't need a lot of roux. If you're making a gumbo and your roux is going to be nice and dark, you need a lot more. So we have this to the consistency we want. We're going to dump it in. As soon as we dump it in, we're going to get our whisk, because this reaction is going to happen fast and we want to get this whisk together very quickly so we don't waste it and we don't mess up our gumbo. Let's get this working. Alright, we're back in business. I added a little bit of that extra roux that I had in the fridge, put it back to the soup, let it come back up to a boil again. Now we have a nice thick gravy consistency. Now it's time to add some more flavor. Start with the Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire has that nice tamarind flavor. It's going to add some color. And once again, it's a foundation of Cajun cooking. Pop some of that in. Ketchup. Ketchup is next. Don't go easy with the ketchup. You want a lot. It's important to the flavor. Ketchup's kind of cheap and it's worth it. Next, hot sauce. How much? I say you need a bunch. Well, it depends on your heartburn condition. It depends on if you're feeding it to the kids, I guess. You're gonna feed it to the kids, you might want to back off on the hot sauce. Get all those ingredients in, whisk it together. That immediately changes the smell, especially that Worcestershire. It's fantastic. It adds a much darker, richer color. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. Once you incorporate those ingredients there that you have, next goes in your andouille sausage. It's important because andouille in Cajun cooking isn't just some meat to add. Andouille is a very richly seasoned sausage, so it's a flavoring agent. You get a Cajun flavor from using andouille sausage. Stir that in, add in your chicken. Add in your chicken, give that a stir. You want to lower your heat here to about low to medium low. You're going to let this simmer for a good 2 hours or so, at least 2. You can give it 3 or 4, even better. After your first hour or so, come back, give it a taste, see if it needs a little seasoning or re-seasoning. See if you like the flavor. If it's good, you're good to go. Just let it keep simmering and let those flavors keep coming together. And if you think it needs a pinch of salt, add a pinch of salt. Let this simmer, and then you want to serve this over white rice. That's traditional for New Orleans cooking. That's chicken and sausage gumbo, my friends. Thank you for watching Cooking with the Snackmaster. We'll see you next time.